Hi folks, CodeTutor here and my name is Anil Deshpande. In the previous video, we have seen how to implement test case for a repository using Stub data access object. What is a stub? It returns a fixed responses with no real logic. There is another way to test a repository wherein instead of a stub, you use a fake. Fake is a lightweight in-memory working logic. So we will have a look at a demo where we implement a fake data access object, and then using that we test the repository, and then we will also write lot of test cases. So let's get into a demo. So we will once again go to the same folder called doubles, and here we will create a class called as fake country DAO. We need to pass it with some seed value. So seed is list of countries. Initially let it be empty list of countries if you don't send the country list as a parameter, and then that extends country DAO. That interface is there here, and as I said, fake should contain some very bare minimum in-memory logic. So let me create a private val backing data. So it will be seed dot to mutable list, and then I have to override get all, which returns backing. And you can leave it as it is, because as per the implementation of the data access object, all you have to do is implement the get all method. And because this is a fake object and we might have to add certain countries in case if we are doing some testing, then it would be good to have a handy insert function. So let's write a insert function. This is more of a like a test helper. It is completely optional. And now using this, let's start modifying the country repository test case that we had written earlier. Now instead of using stub, we will use fake country DAO, and let's pass a list of some countries to initialize the backing list that is there in the fake DAO, and that country DAO is now being passed to the country repository, which is the class under test. And under this I can now start writing any number of test cases. So let me write one test which basically gets all the values and checks whether it's not empty and whether certain entries are there in that particular country list. And then another one checks whether after filtering by left, all the countries that are there in the list are only those countries which drive on the left side of the road. In the same way, I can write a couple of more tests, like similar to left, I will test right filter is working fine or not. And instead of passing left and right, if I pass something else, then what's happening, that is being tested. And then finally null case, and that's it. And if I run these things, we will come to know that which of the test cases are passing and not passing. As you can see here, one of the test cases is not working. That's because it should be either left or right. Otherwise, I should have tested for throwing off the exception. You can fix it on your own. So using this either stub or fake mechanism, you can even write parameterized test cases. So let me create another Kotlin class here, parameterized repository test. We have done parameterized, and as is the drill, we annotate with run with parameterized, then pass the parameters that will be used for testing. We need repository and DAO. So let me create that, and then I will have to create a companion object that will supply the parameters, that is first parameter left and list of the countries that are on the left, right, list of the countries that are right, and then array of non-existent and a empty list. And below that I can do the setup, where I set up the DAO with the fake country DAO and repository with the country DAO that we just initialized here. And then you can write test case, which is test countries by driving side, and then assert equals. And now let me run this, and here also one of the test cases, but that's fine. if we fix the code, the actual code, this should work perfectly fine. So that's it. This is how you use fake objects to isolate test cases in a better manner. You might be wondering, when would you use a stub and when would you use a fake? Stub always returns the same value and fake might not always return the same value because it has some very bare minimum logic also. And there itself lies the use cases on when to choose a stub and a fake. If you want to always return a specific value during the testing, then it is better to use stub. But if you want to simulate some actual usage in a memory, then fakes are much better. Right now, our country repository test uses just DAO because that is how our repository implementation is. It just uses or has a dependency of DAO. But in a typical Android application, you will see that it not only uses DAO, the country repository also has a service which might be fetching data from some kind of a API call. So in that case, it becomes slightly little bit more complicated, but concept remains the same. You have to still use either a fake or a stub in combination with the data source to basically test your country repository. In the next video, I will give you a walkthrough of how that would look like. So stay tuned. Brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.